Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving straight into something that sounds like just a bunch of red tape, but it's actually a complete game changer. We're going to demystify a critical, often misunderstood bureaucratic process that affects some of the most vulnerable people in our communities: state ID access and eligibility for individuals experiencing homelessness. I know, it sounds heavy on paperwork, but understanding this process is absolutely vital.
I mean, think about it for a second. How exactly do you prove where you live when you literally do not have a home? It's a huge, frustrating paradox built right into our administrative systems. For most of us, proving our identity and residency is as simple as grabbing a piece of junk mail off the kitchen counter. But when you're unhoused, this single question can feel like an insurmountable brick wall.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to cover the address catch-22, exactly what documents you actually need, a 5-step roadmap to get that ID, and finally, why this piece of plastic matters so much.
All right, starting off with Section 1, the address catch-22 and overcoming the residency paradox.
If you've ever glanced at standard DMV requirements, you know they almost always demand a fixed address, right? And for someone experiencing homelessness, looking at those standard expectations can induce absolute panic. But here is the ultimate good news. Yes, people experiencing homelessness can absolutely get a state ID in the U.S. without a permanent home address. There are established workarounds built right into the system to handle this exact situation. It is definitely not a dead end.
What's really fascinating here is how typical expectations contrast with the actual accessible realities. Instead of the usual residency proof like utility bills or a fancy lease agreement, many states actually allow alternative documents. We're talking shelter letters, affidavits from social workers, things like that. The system actually has built-in flexibility if you know exactly where to look.
Moving right along to Section 2, what you actually need, unlocking the required documents.
Think of gathering these items as collecting specialized keys to unlock the next phase of life. You obviously can't just show up empty-handed. There are specific rules, but they're pretty clearly defined. You basically have to check two main boxes. First is proof of identity, so a birth certificate, a U.S. passport, or a green card. The second is proof of state residency, and this is where that shelter letter, homeless service provider letter, or social worker affidavit swoops in to save the day. You're also going to need a social security number, which actually brings us to our next point. If your social security card is lost, you really need to get familiar with Form SS5. That's the official form from the Social Security Administration used to request a replacement. Since an SSN is practically mandatory for a state ID, knocking out this specific form and providing your identity info is a super crucial mini-step if yours is missing. Okay, Section 3, 5 steps to your ID. This is your chronological roadmap. Now, bureaucracy usually feels totally chaotic, but this path is actually surprisingly logical. By following a sequential roadmap, the impossible just becomes a series of achievable tasks. Here's the high-level journey. 1. Gather your identity docs. 2. Get that social security document sorted. 3. Obtain your proof of residency. 4. Actually visit the DMV. And 5. Receive the ID. Let's zoom into the specifics of each one. Step 1 is all about proving who you are. You need to collect at least one foundational identity document, like a birth certificate, U.S. passport, green card, or an employment authorization document. And look, the most important thing to remember here is that you are not alone in this step. Shelters, legal aid offices, and homeless programs are literally set up to help track these specific documents down for you. Lean heavily on those service providers. Once you've got that proof of identity, Step 2 is hitting up a Social Security Administration office in person to unlock the next level. You'll request a replacement card, fill out that Form SS5 we just talked about, and hand over whatever identity info you gathered in Step 1.
Right, so Step 3 is getting that proof of residency. Like we said, no home address, no problem. Use a homeless shelter letter, transitional housing letter, social worker affidavit, or service provider certification. Keep in mind, specific rules can vary a tiny bit by state, but these are super widely accepted. Oh, and a major pro tip here. You can often use a shelter address strictly for mailing purposes, just so the state has somewhere to send your physical card. Step 4 is game day. You actually visit the DMV or ID office. You'll fill out the application, hand over all that paperwork you've been carefully collecting, and take your photo. Now, what about the fee? Well, prepare to be pleasantly surprised, because some states actually waive or reduce these fees entirely for individuals experiencing homelessness. It literally removes one of the biggest financial hurdles out there.
And finally, Step 5, The payoff: you get your state ID. Usually, you get immediate relief because many places hand you a temporary paper ID right on the spot before you even walk out the door. The physical, permanent card is then mailed out a few weeks later to whatever shelter or mailing address you set up in Step 3.
Which brings us to Section 4, why this ID matters, the gateway to essential services. We've talked a lot about the procedural how, but we really need to talk about the why. This isn't just a piece of plastic. It is incredibly powerful. It fundamentally unlocks society for you. We're talking applying for jobs, opening a bank account, accessing critical government benefits, applying for life-changing housing assistance, getting medical services, and just straight up verifying your identity. It is a complete game changer for someone's life.
And it's not just advocates shouting this from the rooftops. Government agencies themselves explicitly recognize that having ID access is a massively important step toward obtaining housing, employment, and benefits. The system itself knows that without this foundational step, you're practically invisible to the institutions trying to offer support and upward mobility.
So, I'll leave you with this to chew on. How many lives could be fundamentally changed just by helping someone navigate these administrative barriers? Something as simple as getting an ID card has this massive, cascading, systemic ripple effect. By understanding it, sharing it, and supporting those going through it, we can really help people unlock the doors to their future. Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer. Keep learning, keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.